In a world where magic bloomed as naturally as grass and glimmered in the air like dust caught in sunlight, every child was born with a spark. Every child, except one. On the morning Leora was born, the sky shimmered with color as it always did when a new life arrived. Bells of light rang softly across the hills, and nearby flowers leaned toward the cradle, waiting to glow in response to her magic. But nothing happened. No light, no warmth, no whisper of wonder. The bells fell silent, the flowers turned away, and the world, so full of magic it could hardly imagine a life without it, did not know what to do with a child who held none. Leora grew in a village where magic was used for everything. Lanterns floated instead of burning, brooms swept themselves through open windows, songs stitched broken things back together. Children laughed as they shaped clouds into animals and coaxed colors from the wind. Leora watched. She learned early how to stand just far enough away to not be noticed. When magic lessons filled the square, she sat on the stone steps, hands folded in her lap, smiling politely while sparks danced beyond her reach. When children discovered new powers, their excitement rippled outward like waves. Leora felt them pass through her, never touching. Her parents loved her deeply, but love could not give her what she lacked. They searched for signs that her magic was merely late. They waited for a glow in her hands, a hum in her voice. Years passed. Nothing came. So Leorin learned other things instead. She learned how to listen, how to notice the small moments others missed while they were busy shaping stars and bending light. She noticed when the magic faltered, just slightly, at the edges of the world. How lanterns flickered longer each year before rising, how songs needed more voices to mend the same cracks. No one else seemed concerned. Magic had always been endless. Why would it ever fade? But Leora felt something stirring beneath the brilliance, something unsteady and tired. One evening, as the sky dimmed into twilight, the village gathered for the Festival of First Light. It was a celebration of magic's origin, a night when the greatest spell of all would be renewed. At the heart of the square stood the Arelith, a radiant crystal older than memory, believed to be the source from which all magic flowed. That night, every child placed their hands upon it, letting their power feed back into the crystal, renewing the balance. Leora stood at the edge of the crowd, as she always did. When the first child touched the Arelith, it pulsed, but not brightly. A murmur spread through the crowd. One by one, children pressed their glowing palms to the crystal. The light wavered. The hum cracked. Then, without warning, the Arelith dimmed. Magic stuttered across the village. Floating lanterns fell. Songs broke mid-note. The sky lost its last trace of color, fading into a dull, frightened gray. For the first time in living memory, magic failed. Panic rushed in where wonder once lived. The elders spoke in hurried whispers, fear tightening their voices. They said the Arelith was rejecting the magic it once accepted, that something within it was breaking. They searched for answers in spells and scrolls, in rituals layered upon rituals. Nothing worked. The more magic they poured into the crystal, the darker it grew. And then the strangest thing happened. As Leora stepped closer, the air around her steadied. The flickering slowed. The crystal's frantic pulse softened, just a little. No one noticed at first. They were too busy forcing light into a wound that refused to heal. But Leora felt it. A quiet pull, not calling for magic, but for stillness. That night, unable to sleep, she returned to the square alone. The Arelith loomed in the dark, cracked veins of shadow threading through its surface. She reached out, hesitating. Her hand met cool stone, and for the first time in her life, something answered her touch. Not with light, not with power, with silence. A deep, steady calm spread from her palm like a breath held for too long and finally released. The cracks stopped spreading. The crystal's frantic glow slowed to a quiet ember. Leora pulled back, heart racing. She understood then what the others could not. Magic was not endless. It was alive, and it was exhausted. The next day, Leora tried to explain. She spoke gently, carefully, but fear had already rooted root. The elders could not accept that the child without magic might understand it better than they did. She has nothing to give, they said. They were wrong. Magic continued to unravel. Storms of color twisted the sky. Spells turned wild. The world strained under the weight of its own brilliance. At last, with no other answers left, they turned to Leora. She stood before the Arelith as the village watched in breathless silence. For the first time, all eyes were on her, not with pity, but with hope. Leora placed her hands on the crystal. She did not force it to shine. She let it rest. The glow faded almost entirely. Gasps rippled through the crowd as the world dimmed further than it ever had. Lanterns went dark. The sky lost its last trace of color. It felt like the end. But in the quiet, something new began. The crystal's cracks softened, sealing slowly, gently. A warm, steady light returned, not blinding, not grand, but strong, balanced. Magic flowed again, calmer than before, truer. The elders fell silent. They finally understood. Leora had not been born without magic. She had been born without the hunger for it. In the days that followed, the world changed. Magic no longer rushed unchecked. It listened, it rested, it grew wisely. And Leora? She still could not summon light or bend the wind, but when magic faltered, she steadied it. When it grew reckless, she grounded it. She became its keeper, its balance, its quiet heart. Children no longer asked why she was different. They asked how she knew. And Leora, standing beneath a sky that shimmered just enough, finally felt what she had always been. Not broken, necessary. In a world made of magic, she was the reason it endured.